name is Varli Sifes Municipal Secondary School, and my subject is Political Science, and the chapter name is Foreign Policy of. I am going to share a screen with you. Okay. See, yesterday I have started the lesson. Yesterday I have started the lesson that India's foreign policy. We have seen the half part of this chapter, and now we are going to continue the remaining part of the chapter. But before starting the chapter, I will revise something that we have learned yesterday. Okay. So as I have started the foreign policy, the first thing is that we are dependent on different persons, institutions, and organizations in a society for different facilities. Interdependence and the mutual cooperation has a very important place in our social life. It applies to different nations as well. Exchange of interaction, text treaties with one another. This system of the interdependence of the sovereign state is called international system. As we know that no country, however big or small it may be, is not self-sufficient, and they are dependent on each other for one reason or the another. Interdependence is an important feature of the international system, that is the today's global system, and from 1991 the era of the globalization has started. Even nations has a policies about its relations, and they are maintaining that policies, and this policy is called as the foreign policy. Before starting the foreign policy, we will see the background of the contemporary period or the contemporary world. As we know that many events and the developments in the 20th century took place. In order to understand today's world, we need to go back to the first and the second war. The two wars were the very important events which took place in the 20th century. And because of these two wars, the world completely changed due to these two wars. First World War was fought from 1914 to 1918 between the Allied powers and the Central powers. As you know that there were the two groups during the time of the First World War, Allied powers and the Central powers. Allied powers, which countries were involved in that? The Britain, France, Russia, Italy, America, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ottoman Empire, Bulgaria, etc. It was proved that the First World War more dangerous because the war caused tremendous loss of life and property in Europe. And the economies of the victorious as well as the vanished had collapsed. Except two countries, all the countries started facing economic crisis, like America and Japan. And then the precaution was taken that there should not be the Second World War, and as a result, one international organization was established, and that was the League of Nations. So, established in the year 1930, was given to the League of Nations that to avoid the wars, to maintain the friendly relations, and to solve the disputes among peaceful of nation failed to avoid the wars, and as a result, the result was the Second World War was fought from 1939 to 19 between again the Allied powers and the Axis powers. Now, at the time of the First World War, Allied powers won because America joined hands with the Allied powers, and during the time of the Second World War, again America joined hands with the Allied powers. America played a major role in the Second World War because it dropped two nuclear bombs, Japan and Hiroshima, in Japan, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end the war. And today also we are saying that the Hiroshima and Nagasaki are facing the problems of that bombs. With the defeat of Germany and Japan, once again, as like the First World War, in the Second World War also, Allied powers won the war. In the year 1945, Second World War was ended. And same year, the Cold War was started. What was the Cold War? Actually, the Cold War was fought on the land, but the war-like situation was created in the entire world, and the world became bipolar. Two superpower countries came into existence, and that were the America and the Soviet Union. Their rivalry described as the Cold War, which was lasted for over 45 years, that is from 1991. America was already a super powerful country, and the Soviet Union by making nuclear weapons and by increasing its military might. Before independence, we got independence in the year 1947. Now, after independence, we adopted foreign policy. All the countries, now what is the foreign policy? All the countries are the members of the international system. No country is completely self-sufficient. There is a mutual dependence in the international system. And foreign policy plays a very important role in the international relations. Now, second part that we have studied yesterday, that was the national interest and the relationship between the national interest and the foreign policy. National interest implies the means by which the independence and the sovereignty country are safeguarded. National interest also efforts states to increase power and influence in the world politics. Now, what is the relationship between the national interest and the foreign policy? Hence, national interest and foreign policy are closely connected, that we have studied yesterday. National interest is fostered through the foreign policy because national interest is the foreign policy is considered to be a means to achieve it. So, goals of the nation change with changing times. Accordingly, the foreign policy also changes to suit the national interest. Now, policy internal dealings as also about relations with other nations. Such a policy is called the foreign policy. Yesterday, we have studied the factors that influence the foreign policy. So there are total 5 factors we have seen yesterday. First one was the geographical factors. Second one was the political system. Third one was the economy. Fourth one was the national leadership. And fifth one was the administrative factors. As we know that, what do you mean by geographical factors? Geographical factors means location, size, population of the country, topography. So this is the foreign policy of the country. Second point was the political system. As we know that in a state like India with a democratic political system, the Union Parliament plays a very major role in evolving the foreign policy. And the opposition parties, it's a work of the opposition parties. The work of the opposition parties is to keep a watch and to control the foreign policy by raising questions in the parliament. Now, third one is the economy. As we know that in a modern times, the economic condition has acquired a great importance in deciding the foreign policy. A country having a strong economy is less dependent on the others, and the country is having a weak economy is more dependent on the others. This is the formula that, as I told earlier, all the countries are the members of the international system, and no country is completely self-sufficient because there is a mutual dependence in the international system. Means if country is having a strong economy, is less dependent on the others, and if the country is having weak economy, is more dependent on the others. Then the fourth point, that's the national leadership that we have also studied. As we know that the president of India, that is the real head of the country, then prime minister, the president, nominal head of the country, then prime minister, the real head of the country, then defense minister, foreign minister. All these people comes under the body of the ministry. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru contributed the policy of non-alignment to India's foreign policy, and much depends on the national leader who formulates the foreign policy of the country. This is the responsibility of the national leaders to formulate the foreign policy and to implement the foreign policy. Now, the fifth factor, that is the administrative factors. As I told you that the Ministry of External Affairs, Foreign Secretary, ambassadors in other countries, and diplomatic officers are the administrative factors that involved in formulating the foreign policy. But the final decisions are taken by the Prime Minister and the Minister for the External Affairs. And the administrative machinery helps them to arrive at the decision. And as a result, the role of the National Security Advisor is also important in this task. So these are the 5 factors of India's foreign policy. Along with the factors of the India's foreign policy, we have also seen some important objectives of India's foreign policy. Now, what were the objectives of India's foreign policy? First one was to ensure that the defense and security of India is not affected. Second, not to compromise about the geographical boundaries of the nation. Third, to protect the unity and integrity of the country. It's a responsibility of the country to protect the unity and integrity of the country. Fourth, to protect the interest of India's citizens living in other countries with the help of the Indian embassies. And fifth, last one, that's to establish economic and commercial relations with other countries for achieving economic development of India. In the next slide, I have shown in the form of a picture that see India has to protect the integrity and security of the country while maintaining friendly relations with the neighboring countries, and unity is more important because we also have to maintain the economic relations for the economic development of the country. Now, the next part that we are going to start now, that is a review of India's foreign policy. See, after India became independent in the year 1947, Pandit Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, led the country. He was the architect of India's foreign policy, and his contribution to the social and economic development is significant. We shall take a review of India's foreign policy in 2 stages. First stage, the period from independence, means the period from 1947 to 1990. This was and the second stage would be from 1990 till date. So there are 2 stages. First stage was 1947 to 1990, and second stage is 1990 to till date. Now, India's foreign policy early stage. See, Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's foreign policy in the early period. He opposed the colonialism through India's foreign policy. As we know that 150 years the Britishers were ruling over us, and that was they established various types of colonies over India, and they ruled over India. So after independence, that was the main aim of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to oppose the colonialism, and he opposed the colonialism through India's foreign policy. He took an internationalist position and gave priority to global peace and security. 3 things influenced India's foreign policy in this period. Now we are going to see one by one. First one was, we made to understand all international events and development independently without any pressure from any power. Means it was a strong stand by the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru that we have to take an effort to understand all the international events and developments independently without any pressure from any power. And peace and freedom, these 2 principles became the part of this policy. So peace has always been a central feature of the India's foreign policy. Now, second part was the threats from China and Pakistan were also taken into account. In the next slide, we are going to study how the threats were coming from China and Pakistan. But the second feature is the threats from China and Pakistan were also taken into account. Third one more feature of India's foreign policy at this time was the insistence on self-reliance means Pandit Jawaharlal, the self-sufficiency. Now, in the beginning, India decided to improve relations with countries in Asia. Efforts were also taken to cooperate with Asian countries in order to achieve the development and to keep our independence intact. And to keep our independence intact means integral. Intact means integral or the entire. Means the Britishers were ruling over us for 150 years. But after independence, India decided not to allow any, and as a result, India decided to improve its relations with, trying to maintaining its friendly relations with the countries in Asia. Now, expanded to include Africa as well, but some African countries participated in the military pact, led either by America. This stopped the process. Now, the next one is, after this country, Africa, which did not participate in these military pacts, they decided to join, is one of the most important feature and the principle of India's foreign policy, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru contributed a lot for maintaining this non-alignment policy. So the countries from Asia, they also decided, the countries, those who were going to the military pact, they decided to join to non-alignment movement. In this period, India had to face countries into war over the Kashmir issue in the year 1947 and 1948. It means actually Pakistan was not there, but in the year 1947, when war took place, at that time India was divided in the eastern part and the western part, and the Pakistan was created. The second war, 65. After this war, the Soviet Union tried to mediate between two countries. Means Soviet Union tried in 1971, and Pakistan led the creation of an independent country called the Bangladesh. It was created in the year 1947. Similarly, the Bangladesh was not a previous country, but it was also created in the year 1971 when war took place between India and Pakistan, and one independent country was that was called is Bangladesh. Now, in the decade of the 1970s, there came about some stability in India's foreign policy. It means when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, that time India successfully carried out the nuclear test. And that nuclear test was conducted in the year 1974. And India proved her nuclear capability once again. Now, from 1980, however, some changes among South Asian countries. South Asian Associational Cooperation was established. Now, what is the South Asian Cooperation? That is the SAARC, SAARC. This is the organization. What is the full form of Asian Association Cooperation that was established? And initiated a dialogue to improve the relations with China. Actually, in the year 19, India and China, and that was fought in the region of the McMahon land, that is history. After this, India initiated a dialogue to improve relations with China. India also started the interaction with America, education in the field of the security. Now, this is the symbol of the SARC. So, is not given in the textbook. I have given for your extra understanding countries which are the part of the SARC. First one, that is the Afghanistan. Second one, that is the Bangladesh. Third one, that is the Bhutan. Fourth one, that is the India. So it's India is also the part of the SARC. So fifth one, that is the Maldives. Sixth one, Nepal. Seventh one, Pakistan. And the eighth one, that is the Sri Lanka. So this is the group of the eight SARC. The stage 1947 to 1990. First point is the non-alignment movement. India adopted the policy of non-alignment in the context of the Cold War. As we know that during the time of the Second World War, India involved, but India did not want to involve willingly. At that time, Britishers were ruling over fully. India involved during the time of the war. And after the end of the war, India adopted the policy of non-Cold War, because during the time of the Cold War, the world was divided into two groups, that is the America and the Soviet Union. So India decided not to join America, not to join Soviet Union, and it decided to remain nuclear. So India adopted alignment in the context of the Cold War. As a result, priority was given to maintaining the friendly relations with all the nations and taking the help required for the development from different countries. Due to the policy of non-alignment, India could get aid from both the superpowers. India did not join hands with America, and India did not join hands with Soviet Union. India remained nuclear because it adopted the policy of non-alignment. To this policy of non-alignment, India could get aid. Aid means help from both the superpowers. Now, there is a lot of stress on improving, strengthening India's defense. Actually, it's a responsibility of the country to protect the citizen of the country and to protect the national security. Technologies was imported for improving India's defensive system, and for strengthening India's defensive system, the technology required, and that technology was imported. Soviet Union, that is the Russia, France, and Germany, India in the matter. In the world map, I have shown the Russian India, that Soviet Union was helping to India in this matter. Now, in this period, India had to face some challenges. In each and every period, India had to face challenges. So these included the conflict with Pakistan over the Kashmir issue, and the creation of the Bangladesh, and conflict with China. The three wars took place between India and Pakistan. First in the year 1947, second in the year 1965, and third in the year 1971. So three wars took place between India and Pakistan, and again the war also took place between India and China here too. And in the year 1970, war took place between India and Pakistan. At that time, the independent country as like Bangladesh was created. India proved her ability by conducting nuclear tests in the year 1974. As I told you, when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, at that time, India successfully carried out a nuclear test, which was conducted in Pokhran in Rajasthan in the year 1974, and India once again proved her nuclear capability. Now, we are going to see the contribution of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to India's foreign policy. Previous slide, I have told Nehru is called as the architect of India's foreign policy. Why he is called as the architect of India's foreign policy, that we are going to see now. First one was that his stand was that India should independently understand the global or international affairs. Means the self-sufficiency was focused in the foreign policy, and as a result, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's stand was that India should independently understand the global or the international affairs. Second point, he followed up with the policy of peace. So the peace and freedom, these are the two main principles of the India's foreign policy and non-alignment movement. Now, the next point that we are going to start, that is the second stage. 1991 till date. Before this, we have seen the period from first stage, the period from 1947 till to 1990. And now we are going to see the second stage from 1991 till date. See, India's foreign policy became more comprehensive, broad in scope. What do you mean by comprehensive? Broad in scope and dynamic, active in the second stage. It means India's foreign policy became more dynamic, more broad in scope, and more active in the second stage. Pre means before, post means after. So after the Cold War period, the priority no longer remained to political and military relations. Several other dimensions like economy, trade, education, and technology got included in foreign policy. As I told you that the foreign policy, because of the need, according to policy also changes to suit the national interest. Hence, the several other dimensions also included in the foreign policy like economy, trade, education, and technology. Now, after 1991, India, the government controls over the economy and adopted free market policy, that is the globalization. Because of the globalization, the world became one single market and world came close. Naturally, there was an increase in trade with neighboring countries. And obviously, relations or the commercial relations or the economic relations with other countries to improve or to develop the economy of the country, a share in the world trade increase. Efforts began to be made to increase the rate of economic growth. Now, in the decade of 1990, in the decade of 1990, our relations with the South Asian countries like Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, etc. became images that I got. Israel, China, and European Union also increased. So after in the decade of 1990, a trade exchange or export and import started increasing with some countries like Israel, Japan, China, and European Union. Now, that is the next point is the BRICS. I have given image. Through the image, you can easily understand what is the BRICS and what is the full form of BRICS. In a simple language, so India began participating in organizations at the international and regional levels more than before. Earlier, India was participating, but her participation was not more; it was less. But after 1990, when from the period of 1991, from the 1991 when the globalization was started, from that period, India started participating in the organization at the international and the regional levels. For example, G20 and BRICS. So earlier I have told you the full form of BRICS: B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for and S for South Africa. Our relations with America strengthened. Grew. Why our relations strengthened? Because the mutual trust started growing up. India's status rose in the Indian status in the international community. Now is the one of the most important part of India's foreign policy. As I see, you must have studied the meanings of nuclear energy and its uses in subjects like history, geography, or chemistry. Having understood the importance of nuclear power, India undertook the nuclear energy program immediately after independence. Now, India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru, wanted to nurture a scientific temper and bring out the real health of the country. It's a duty of the Prime Minister, first Prime Minister, Pandit. It's a duty of the Prime Minister to Jawaharlal Nehru. His perspective, he set up the Indian Atomic Energy Commission. On 10th Bhabha was appointed as the first chairman of the commission of the BRC, and the next one is the Department of Atomic Energy. Now, even though electrification is the main purpose behind the program, it also aimed at creating military capability as a consequence of this. And India conducted her first nuclear test in 1991 successfully. So India built nuclear weapons and conducted nuclear tests in 1998. So first nuclear test was conducted in the year 1974, and again in the year 1998, again India successfully conducted the nuclear test. We have also made missiles carrying nuclear weapons, and the Air Force and the Navy have been enabled for carrying them. Now, India's security system in the Navy defend the country. Three forces that the Indian Army is very big, and it is the world's seventh largest of India is the supreme commander of the defense forces. India is now a country which has a nuclear weapons. We have accepted the role of responsible nuclear power. India has been consistently supporting efforts for the disarmament and peace and security. You see, now we are going. Question number 1. Choose the right option and rewrite the sentence. So, for fill in the blanks, 4 options will be given to you. First question: peace and freedom became the fundamental principles of policy of India. First option: second, external; third, domestic; fourth, global. Obviously, it will be first one, that's a non-aligned. Second one: Dash was established to increase cooperation among the countries of South Asia. Options: first one, B, SAARC; C, CO; D, BRICS. Obviously, it will be second one, that is the SAARC. Now, question number 2, prepare the following concept chart. The members of the BRICS. Earlier I have told you, B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. Now, question 3. Answer the following questions in brief. That question can be asked for 2 marks. First, write the contribution of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to India's foreign policy. Here we have to write point-wise answer because we get marks each and every point. First one, Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru shaped India's post-independence foreign policy. Second, he advocated the non-alignment and was opposed to colonialism, racism, and imperialism through India's foreign policy. Third one, he took an internationalist position and gave priority to global peace and security. Fourth one, he advocated the concept of regional development, that is the development of the countries in Asia and Africa. Fifth one, he tried to improve the relations with the neighboring countries, especially China. So this is the answer of the first question. Now we will discuss the second question. Write the features of India's foreign policy in early phase. The features of India's foreign policy in the early phase after independence were: first one, India's effort to understand all international events and developments independently without any pressure from any power. Second, peace has always been a central feature of India's foreign policy. Third, the threats from China and Pakistan were also taken into account. Fourth, there was insistence on self-reliance, improvement in relations with the countries in Asia and Africa. Fifth, India advocated regional development, that is, the development of countries in Asia and Africa. And last one, that is the sixth one, India adopted and advocated non-alignment. So this is the answer of the second question. Write about the conflicts with the neighboring countries from 1947 to 1990. First point, answer. First point, India's first armed conflict took place in 1947-1948 when Pakistan invaded Kashmir. Second, the Sino-Indian War took place in 1962. Third, India went to war against Pakistan to the Kashmir issue in 1965. And third war with Pakistan took place in 1971. It resulted in the breakup of Pakistan and emergence of independent state of Bangladesh. The answer is very easy of this question because you just have to remember the years and the countries. For example, in the year 1947-48, the war took place between India and Pakistan over the Kashmir issue. Again, in the year 1962, the war took place between India and China. Third, again, the war took place in the year 1965 between India and Pakistan over the Kashmir issue. And fourth point, that is the war took place between India and Pakistan in the year 1971 and the Bangladesh was created. Within 4 points you can write here. Now, the next question, that is write about India's foreign policy. First one, in the post-Cold War period, the priority no longer remained to political and military relations. Second, several other dimensions like economy, trade, education, and technology got included in a foreign policy. Third, India reduced controls over the economy and adopted the free market policy. Naturally, there were increase in the trade with neighboring countries. Fourth, India's share in the world trade has increased. Efforts are made to increase the rate of economic growth. Fifth, India's relations with South Asian countries like Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam became stronger. Trade exchange with Israel, Japan, China, and the European Union increased. And sixth one, India began to participate in the international and the regional organizations that we have discussed, like G20 and BRICS. Again, once again, B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. Thus, India's status was enhanced in the international community. Seventh one, India's foreign policy became more comprehensive and dynamic in the post-1990 period. Now, the fourth question is, write about India's policy. We will discuss this question now. Answer is, first point, nuclear policy is an important part of India's foreign policy. Second, India undertook nuclear energy program immediately after independence. Third, for this, Department of Atomic Energy and Indian Atomic Energy Commission were established. Fourth, along with generating electricity, the program aimed at creating military capability. Fifth, India conducted first nuclear test in the year 1974 and second nuclear test in the year 1998. Sixth, India has built nuclear weapons and missiles. The Air Force and the Navy have been enabled to carry them. Seventh, India is now a nuclear country, has accepted the role of a responsible nuclear power. Eighth, India has been supporting disarmament efforts as it holds the position that there should be peace and security in the world. So here we have discussed all the 5 questions. So here I have also completed my chapter. Similarly, we have also discussed. So now if anybody is having a doubt here, you can ask.
Madam, stop the recording.